first walk into the gym, the first thing you're gonna be asked is likely, yo, how much can you bench? And the reason for this is that there's no more effective method for training your body, proper shoulder stabilization, and strength from your mid-range to out in front of you. So today, we're gonna learn how to bench. First thing you need is a bench. The second thing you need is a barbell. And of course, you're gonna start off with your warm-up weight. We're a little bit experienced here, so we're gonna start off with the 45s. And the placement of the bar is super important. Notice how when Scott lays down here, he's gonna put that bar right over his eyes. So it's just far enough back where it's out of the way, and he can properly bring it over him without injuring his rotator cuff. Notice how his elbows, when his hands are on the bar, just create this little tiny bend that allows him to lift it up and gets him in the starting position. All right, let's learn how to bench. So the first thing you want to pay attention to when getting ready how to bench is your foot placement. We're going to have Scott sit at the end of the bench here, get his feet shoulder width apart, and he's going to really try to drive them into the ground. You don't want these moving for the rest of the movement. Your body is going to look for mechanical advantage, and the first thing that you're going to see people do when they're looking for mechanical advantage is wiggle their knees around, move their feet around, try to find the right placement. Get the right placement, dig the heels in. The next thing you need to do, Scott's gonna bring my two fingers together by bringing his shoulder blades back and down. This is the perfect position to keep your body in control for the benching movement. He's also gonna bring the crown of his head up, tuck his chin in, and look at this beautifully aligned spine. And then he's gonna sit back and try to maintain this position. He's gonna squeeze his butt cheeks together like he's in prison, and he's saying he is not open for business. And then we're going to come to the grip. Now you have two options when it comes to grip. You have the false grip and you have the full grip. The false grip, if you're doing a lot of volume and you're very experienced and you want to put some extra mind to muscle connection together, then the false grip is a-okay. However, for most people that want to get the most out of their bench, we're going to do the full grip. Why? Because this is going to allow Scott to squeeze the bar harder, keep his wrist straight, and put an enormous amount of torque on the bar, which is super important when it comes to this movement. This is how you apply torque to the bar. Take it, squeeze it, bend it, and push from there. This is how you properly engage all your muscles up and down the side and give you the ultimate bench gains. So, I'm just going to give him a proper spot. And we're gonna get the bar right over him. Scott's now ready to go. He's gonna get those wrists straight. He's squeezing the heck out of that bar, and he's gonna lower it down nice and slow, and then bring it back up. Now I wanna talk to you about his breathing. See what he's doing here? He's taking a deep breath at the top, and then when he's pushing the motion, when he's pushing out from the bottom, he's not letting all of his air out. He's keeping his core nice and tight, and he's allowing the air that's in there to push against the externals of his core and keeping himself nice and tight and injury-free. However, you don't want to hold the pressure and you don't want to hold your breath till you pass out, so we're going to do something called the breath of the dragon. So you're probably wondering what the breath of the dragon is. This was a move developed by Bruce Lee in order to strengthen your abdominals, and today we're using it to make some ultimate bench gains. So it works like this. You take a deep breath in, straight down, put all the air down here, so you're sucking all the air into the deepest part of your diaphragm, and then purse your lips together, and breathe out. And what this allows you to do, it allows you to relieve some pressure so you don't get all lightheaded and pass out, but it also allows you to keep pressure on the inside walls of your sternum here and keep your injury-free, stiff, and ready to bench. And he's gonna let just a little bit of air out as he goes up while keeping the core tight. Now we're gonna talk about range of motion in a second, but the first thing I want to show you is about shoulder path. Now I got some two linemen here. They're going to show you a little demonstration. And play. Pause. Rewind. Forward. Rewind. Forward. Check this out. Do you see what's happening with his shoulder here? Rooney, if you could stand up for us. Bring this shoulder back. Then bring that shoulder forward. Notice how his shoulder travels from the front of the socket to the back of the socket, then back to the front of the socket. What a lot of people will do when they're looking for mechanical advantage is they'll take their shoulder and you'll see this motion happen. No good. One, you're going to create injury. Two, you're not making the bench as effective as it could be. And we still got Scott going over here. So now, if you look at Scott's shoulder, you'll see that it's traveling very nicely from the front of the socket to the back of the socket, getting the most out of the motion and getting the most range of motion possible. He's got good breathing. He's bringing the bar down nice and controlled. Now, the last thing we're going to look at is the bar path. Now, this is the path that the bar takes through the movement. It's not going straight down. You'll notice if you look from the side, it's going just a little bit forward. Now, this has to do with the fact that Scott is putting torque on the bar, twisting his elbows into the proper position, so they're flaring out at about 45 degrees. The second reason for this is that Scott's arms are staying perpendicular with the ground. If he were to bring them in or out, he would put more pressure on his shoulders, more pressure on his triceps, but this is a compound exercise. We want to be using all these muscles beautifully together like he is. And if he needs a spot, this is how you do it. 2 fingers, opposite grip, and you push up just enough that he needs. Good set, Scott. Now, let's take a look at how a power lifter might do this. Now, when it comes to powerlifting, the goal is a little bit different. The goal is no longer how good can you look or how well you can activate the muscle. It's all about how much weight you can move from point A to point B. So Paul's going to demonstrate here for us. We're going to make a couple different changes. He's going to go a little bit wider. This is going to allow him to decrease the range of motion, allowing him to push more weight. He's also going to set himself up a little bit differently. He's going to bring himself under the bar, create this nice globally arched position, while maintaining 3 points of contact. 1 with his shoulders, 2 with his butt, and the other with his feet. In this globally arched position, he's going to engage a lot of his stronger pectoralis minor muscles. He's going to engage his lats, and he's going to keep himself locked off. Now, there is a 4th point of contact if you are a power lifter. Let's go, Paul. Let's bring it up. Now, when he brings the bar down, in order to make this count, he's going to have to hold it there for a second and then press back up. And of course, we're doing a lot of weight here, so we're going to bring in a spotter for him. What's up, big dog?
You got it.
And there we go. Now, by decreasing the range of motion and keeping his sternum nice and stiff, he's not utilizing the breath of the dragon as much. He's bringing it in the air, holding it in nice and tight, because he only has to do 1 press with the most amount of weight. Which one is better? The bench we just showed you or the powerlifting? Well, I'm going to say a mixture of both is going to be best for any guy or girl trying to make long-term gains in the gym. This is for muscle confusion. If you get too used to one, try out the other one, and when you go back, it'll definitely be more effective. Now, when discussing the bench, the flat bench is obviously the most basic of them. However, my personal favorite is the incline bench, as Rooney here is about to demonstrate. There's a very tiny muscle that you have up here. You have your pectoralis minor down here and your pectoralis major up here. By focusing on this muscle, you're building a more aesthetic, wide physique. And especially for girls that like to do this movement, there's just no reason for you to engage the pectoralis minor over and over again, especially when you're doing things like push-ups and dips. So, this is a beautiful motion. Notice how Rooney's keeping his chest above his shoulders the whole time, keeping tension on the chest. You also have the decline bench as an option. Paul, demonstrate that for us. Now, when scientists look at EMG reports, which tells them how much muscle activation they're actually getting out of a movement, the decline bench is far superior. However, it's going to make your boobs saggy, and it's not something you need to do over and over again, especially, like I said, you're doing dips and push-ups and things like this. Now, if you're looking for that little tiny view right here, that inner upper chest, or you're looking for nice horseshoe triceps, nothing's better than the incline close grip bench. Scott's going to demonstrate that for us. Wow, what a beautiful motion. Look at the muscle activation right up here in the upper chest. So when it comes to barbell benching, we've discussed the 3 basic ones: flat, incline, and decline. Let's talk about what else we can do. Now, the benefit of the barbell bench press has always been that you can put the most amount of weight and most stress across your upper body as possible. However, switching that motion out for some dumbbells every once in a while is hugely beneficial. Not only does it allow you to increase your range of motion, but it also forces you to engage your small stabilizer muscles that you normally would not be able to engage on a regular bench press. Now, since I mentioned before that we don't like to do too much decline benching for, the saggy boob thing, I thought I'd show you one of my favorite motions for your lower chest. Now, Rooney here, he's going nice and wide on the decline, and as he brings him up, he's doing a little inward twist, and this is going to help carve the outside of your chest if that's what you're seeking. Now, we got Paul over here. He's going to show you the dumbbell flat bench press. He's going to use a neutral grip, and this is how you're able to increase the range of motion on your bench. Notice how he's twisting them all the way in and rotating out naturally, just like a punch. This is what we're looking for on the dumbbell bench. You can also throw a slight incline on there, as we have over here with Scott. Now, you don't need too much incline to engage the upper chest. However, the more you want to engage your shoulders, the farther up you can start to bring this. Excellent motion. All right, let's move on. All right, so now that you've gone nice and heavy on the bench press, the barbell bench press, you went a little bit lighter with the dumbbells, increased your muscle activation. Now we're going to address a few problems that are caused by the bench. The first one is a tight thoracic spine. This is going to keep you very stiff and keep you walking around like this all the time and not really moving very well. So to compensate for this, we're going to recommend doing some Russian twists in between your set. This is going to keep this core strong, keep you mobile, and keep your bench on point. The second one we're going to recommend is the hollowed out push-up. You see, when you're benching, your back plates, they get pinched against the bench and they don't allow them to move freely. See what happens here if I push forward? Again, we're talking about that shoulder coming from the back of the socket to the front of the socket. We're not doing this back of the socket to the front of the socket. Now, when I do this very natural motion. My shoulder blades, they separate and they come around to help me complete this motion. When you're on the bench, you're stuck like this. So Paul here is demonstrating a hollowed out push-up where he adds this nice little stretching at the top to bring his shoulder blades out. And he's also adding a little twist inward. On the bench, when we're on the barbell, you're twisting outwards, and down here to balance it out, to engage the shoulders and to keep everything nice and even, you're going to twist inward. Now you might feel a couple cracks with this one off the bat, especially if you've been benching for a while, but that's good. This is going to keep your shoulder joint well-rounded and injury-free. The next one is going to also be in light of that is the rear delt fly. Now this is an excellent one to do in between your bench sets, not only because it opens up the shoulder blades, like we were just talking about with the hollowed out push-up, but it's also going to take some of that lactic acid, some of that burning sensation you get in the middle of your sets from up here and push it to the back of your delts here, allowing you to do more sets. All good. Combine these three motions on your bench day and you are sure to see success and be injury-free. Something else we like to recommend to improve your bench is the bicep barbell curl. And don't do it for biceps. We're actually doing this for shoulder stabilization. Check out my shoulder position as I do this. You're not coming forward like this to make it easy. You're teaching your body to stay upright and stay in control. And keep your shoulders rolled back. This is going to help you teach your body how to control weight that's in front of you, which is what the bench is actually doing for you. If you skip curls for a long period of time, like I did, what actually will end up happening is on bench, you'll find a comfortable position like this, and you won't really realize you're doing it. So do the curls, and it'll help keep your shoulders even. Now, let's talk about rep ranges. For guys, you're mostly constructed of type 2 muscle fibers, so doing a motion like this as the bench with a lot of weight is going to be your best bet to see results. You're going to tax your central nervous system and you're going to get tired very easy. So we're going to go heavy, go explosive. See how Rooney here, he's doing a nice slow negative and then exploding up at the top. This explosiveness is special for guys. You have the ability to create an awful lot of drive and push through, so you need to engage that. You need to engage your central nervous system, you need to engage those type 2 muscle fibers, and you will see the best results. For girls, on the other hand, predominantly type 1 muscle fibers. Now, this isn't to say you have to do one or the other, but we're just talking about what's most beneficial. Paul here, he's going nice and slow and controlled, and this is going to be best for girls. And going slightly higher rep with lower rest periods. That's right, ladies, because of your higher estrogen, you're going to recover faster, not only between sets, but also over the week period. So don't be afraid to do more sets than your male counterpart, and don't be afraid to take shorter breaks. The downside of this, you notice how he's not as explosive on the concentric motion. which is okay. The more important thing here is time under tension. And then if you really want to get into it, we got our buddy Scott here. He's going to show us some examples. He's going to start off by doing a real good negative, count all the way down. With that motion, that's great for guys that want to put on and more weight than they can even control. You just lift it off, have a buddy help you out, and count on the way down. Then Scott also has the option of doing some half reps into a full rep. Half rep, nice, nice. And he squeezes out the full rep at the top. He also has the option of doing some ballistic sets where he pauses at the bottom, boom, and explodes up. These are all great things to mix it up, and you could also do these with dumbbells. As far as your sets and reps are concerned, here's what we recommend. Now, protein synthesis takes place between 24 and 48 hours after your workout. So therefore, we recommend hitting the bench and the rest of your compound movements at least once every 48 to 72 hours. As far as the amount of sets that you're doing, to start out, you have to start off with a warm-up set. This is going to be about 60% of your max effort. So you put the weight on there, you go till you feel you're starting to get a little bit fatigued, and then rack the weight. This is good. It's a good warm-up set. Increase the weight or keep it the same, and then you're going to go to 80% effort. Whatever weight you're using, you're just going to push yourself till you're about 80% exhausted, and this is what you would call a working set. You're going to get a lot out of these sets. So the reason you're only going to 80% is so that you can do more sets after that. So you do one set at 60%, two sets at 80% effort, and then do a final burnout set with the option of dropping the weight down continually in order to completely tax and exhaust those type 1 muscle fibers and also get your central nervous system involved. If you're a little bit more experienced, you can go to failure every time, or if your goal is to increase volume and size, we'd recommend just adding in more working sets. So instead of doing 2 sets of 80% effort, you could do up to 4 or 5, and then again finishing off with the burnout set. Now, for most people, I know females are predominantly type 1 muscle fiber and guys are predominantly type 2 muscle fiber. Well, we're all a pretty even mix of all of them in most of our muscles. So, as always, the recommendation will be to mix it up, find different rep ranges that work for you, and do pretty much an even split between high rep, 8 to 12 reps, and low rep, which would be 3 to 6 reps. Hey guys, this has been fitnesshabits.com, how to bench. Thank you for watching. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, give us a like on the video. We'll see you guys next time. We're going to get to it. Go bench some weight.